Hey all, welcome to week 11 of Aspie Sean. This week's video will be on social chameleonism and mimicry. I was going to do a different topic, but I saw something on my friend Ellie Jaden's page. You can find her on YouTube, Ellie Jaden, and she's awesome. And also on Facebook. And she did something about how she's in Ireland and how her accent sort of changed things and different words that she pronounced. And it kind of inspired me to say, hey, maybe do a bonus video. So those of you who've been following me on Tumblr and YouTube, you know that I promised a bonus video. Well, figured I'd tie the two in, So this week's video will be on social chameleonism and mimicry. I know there's hard data out there, and frankly, I forgot to go look it up. I'm mea culpa. But it is out there. There's good data on social chameleonism and mimicry among Aspies. Not so sure about high-functioning autistics, but definitely there among Aspies. About how we sort of blend in. It's one of the reasons why I've once heard Asperger syndrome called the chameleon disorder, because we become what everyone expects us to be, so therefore we seem odd, we seem off, we seem this, we seem that, but we don't pop up as, ooh, wrong thing over there, as much. Although I have, due to the unfortunate amount of overdiagnosis going on. It happens with every disorder: bipolar, ADD, paranoid schizophrenia, schizophrenia in general. It happens with every disorder. It's popular. Oh my God, I must have it too. And then people get overdiagnosed. Oh, your kid has that, because it's easier to slap a label on somebody than to find the real answer. And yeah, I grew up in the 90s. I got diagnosed with ADD about 2 years before it got really popular. The only reason why I know my diagnosis is correct, as I've talked about, is because of who gave it to me. So anyway, social chameleonism and mimicry. I tend to become the person people want me to be. I tend, on a long enough time scale of a relationship, once I become comfortable with my girlfriend, I tend to become the guy that she wants me to be. I tend to become a little malleable about that. In well-worn groups, I become people that they expect me to be. Somebody watched me in the SCA who knew me and saw me among a group of fighters who didn't know me. Nobody. And they were having some problems with their style, and I walked over and I gave a lesson. And then he watched me among people who knew me, and he says that I became a different person, became much more, not submissive, much more less alpha, because they wouldn't let me. They expected me to be this person, so I became that person. But when among people who didn't know me, I became sort of, he said, more you, more as you present yourself when no more than one person who is around. So people who expect me to be a certain way, I tend to become that way. It's very hard to fight, because they think that's really me, and that's not. My mother's a good example. Somebody said years ago that I'd fight my mom in the SCA, and my skill level would drop, because she expected to be better than me, therefore I let her be better than me. And it took me a long time and a number of years, and finally I just went out and I just decided to own her. That she, I wasn't going to let her win. And she couldn't lay stick on me. And her technique was flawed, and I took advantage of that. And although she knew how I moved and how I thought, overall I was stronger, faster, I had better technique, and I eventually won through, and I beat her. And that's how I beat her later on in a tournament. The first tournament I ever got to fight with her, where we were on opposite sides of the choosing field, where she was on the night side and I wasn't, and she got, I chose her as my first pick. By the way, that's happened to me. All you unbelts out there watching that video in the SCA, I have been chosen to go on the night side after 12 years. It can happen to me. It can happen to you. So social chameleonism, I become the person you expect me to be. Mimicry is tied into that. I have a mimicry circuit that you'll see in the bonus video. I'm very good at accents and impressions. Well, I'm better than the average man. I'm better than average. I'll put that out there. I'm not so sure about great, but I'm better than average. When I came back from Texas, This is a free accent. When I came back from Texas for boot camp, which was in San Antonio, I sounded like this. Ready? Yeah, okay, I'm going to go back to Texas. Well, you know, when I came back from Texas, I kind of sounded like this. Because I've been in and around San Antonio, and at that time, at least in my memory, the people from San Antonio sounded like this. And even though I'm not from San Antonio, I am in fact from the western United States. As I have said, I am familiar with North and Central and Southern California, more so than I am with Texas. I am mildly aware of where El Paso is in relation to San Antonio, and yet I can sound like I did when I got back from boot camp. It was horribly annoying, and that's the way it was. And when I got around a bunch of British guys, and I started sounding a little bit more like this. And I came away and started talking to someone I just barely knew, and they said that I kind of sound like this. Cheers. And so that's how I am. And I know a lot of people, I mean, Aspies and NTs, human beings tend to want to match where they are, with the people they are, with the groups. And the thing I heard about Aspies that sort of ties this in is that we don't know how we fit into the social structure as much as others. We don't know where we are in that social structure, so we just sort of fake it, you know, and impersonate ourselves. Somebody expects us to be in charge, we are in charge. Someone expects us to be submissive, we're more submissive. Now, this isn't like a bing, bing, like one side, one side, one side. It's like, imagine that there's a point. I was making my notes. Imagine there's a point right here, okay? And we can deviate from that point a certain amount. So we can sort of deviate from center. And we can do it in multiple directions at the same time. But we always kind of want to be right here. Right in the center. Boop. And the farther and farther and farther we get pulled out, the more we start pulling back. So the more we deviate from our center, the more we deviate from our true selves, the more we want to get pulled back. At least in my experience, and the experience of a few other Aspies. Your mileage may vary. And you get pulled far enough, and you snap back right to the center. That happened in a relationship I was in. That she kept pulling me and pulling me and pulling me and pulling me, and I just snapped. And usually that snapping involves a great amount of frustration and a great amount of anger. Because we feel like, at least in my case, and the case of the others I've talked to for whom this is true, we feel like we were trying to do everything you wanted us to be, and it was not enough. What the hell? And this is true for parents and for siblings and for friends and for everyone. I got in a big argument with my mom over the weekend a few times because, and she's going to see this, because I have decided that I will not allow her to do that to me anymore. I will not allow her to push me in a direction and away from my center. That this had to do with certain rules with SCA combat and with teaching martial arts. And what I realized was, especially in this kind of situation, was that I'm an expert. There are people who are more expert. There are people who are better. But as far as the public is concerned, as far as any rational way of judging things, I'm an expert. I almost achieved black belt in Taekwondo. I would have had certain files not gotten lost, had I not run out of money, had so on and so forth. But I've studied a lot. And so my knowledge base, my knowledge is equivalent to that. My skill level is equivalent to that. It may be a little spread out, but it is. And people, when I talk about things and when I do things, people expect. So I've tried not to do that. Now, how do you fix this if you're an Aspie? Stay true to yourself. Constantly be aware of yourself. Constantly be aware of what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and ask people. Go around. Hey, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do that? You know, what did I do? What did I do? Describe it as best you can. Don't go for exactness. Avoid exactness in what they say. Okay? Listen to their words. Make a picture in your head. You're looking for a feel. They're trying to describe a feeling to you, a sort of an experience of thought, okay, which you can't do with exactness. What exactly what did I say? What exactly what I do? That can be a little helpful, maybe. But what you're looking for is their impression of you, okay? Because you know how you should, you know the feeling you want to leave in their minds, And if that's not the feeling they're leaving in your minds, then that tells you where you are and where you should be. So the bonus video will be me doing accents and me doing impressions. But that's social chameleonism and mimicry in a nutshell. It's 10 minutes, so, you know, time's up. Hope to see you next week. Remember, any questions below the video, find me on Facebook /AspieSean. Find me at Tumblr, aspiesean.tumblr.com. Find me on Vimeo. Find me, obviously, you're watching this, on YouTube. Have a great day, and sorry about the monetization, but it does pay for the advertisements that I do for the series. Have a good night.